So how do our objects of the model, view, and controller camps talk to one another? Well, the view controller is in charge of communication, so it can speak freely to the model and the views. The green arrows denote this. I've gone ahead and I've opened up our Man's Best Friend application that we worked on earlier so we can highlight a few examples of MVC. So I'm going to go ahead and I have my storyboard open as well as my header file. And earlier we connected up all of our view objects to our header file. Right? And we said that the view controller was now hooked up to our view. And earlier we learned that the controller manages our view. So where do we have an example of that? Let's open mbfviewcontroller.m and we'll go back to single view. If I scroll all the way down in the bottom here, inside of my method new dog bar button item pressed, we see that I've been updating elements of my view from my controller. So I was able to do self.myImageView.image, and I was able to add my random dog's image. We also saw an example of our view controller accessing our model. So if we scroll to the very top here, we see that we import the MBF dog and MBF puppy classes, and that we also create instances of my dog as well as my puppy. So in this case, we see that the view controller is accessing our model and creating instances of our model inside of its implementation file. We also were able to access our view elements in mbfviewcontroller.h when we accessed UIKit, which gave us access to all of the view objects. It is prudent to group code together. So what we're going to do next, we're going to File, New, Group, and we're going to go ahead and add a group called Models. We can drag both our dog and our puppy items into here. And this is for organization only. It has no effect on our program whatsoever, but it does keep our code looking spiffy. And when we group our classes together, it becomes much easier to find files as we need them. So it's really handy to create groups as you're going through. It also will help you identify what the models are inside of your project or application. The final thing I want to mention is that in nowhere or no place does our dog class, our MBF dog, know what's going on in the view, and in no place does the view know what's going on inside the MBF dog class. The view controller sits in between them and manages both of them. So if we look at our storyboard, nowhere do we have mention of MBF dog. And if we look at mbfdog.h and as well as the .m, we see nowhere do we mention any of our view objects, right? So we don't have access to our label or our text field or anything like that in here. So this is a hint that while our controller can talk to both of our view and our model objects, the model object and our view are never able to talk directly to one another. They have to talk through the controller.